Hi, everyone. We are on another episode of Iwing Marketplace Chit Chat. Iwing Marketplace Chit Chat is a show where we give the opportunities for entrepreneurs to talk about themselves and what they do. Right here with me, I'm with a very creative lady by the name of Eva. She's doing some amazing things in the community. Eva, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Eva Amiolemeh. I am from Nigeria and I live in Maryland. And I am a family therapist. I work with families and children. I, like he said, I'm a very, creative person. I like dancing and braiding hair and writing and anything just creative arts. I love doing arts. So, yes, that's me.
That's beautiful. So today we're going to be talking about your book, Omo and Ivie, and how the book is, helping kids, or you can say healing kids. So, but what inspired you to write this book?
Okay, so first of all, the name of the book, Omo and Ivie, right? Omo and Ivie. I decided to choose a traditional name because the book has some form of traditional, you know, culture as part of the book. So I chose those two names from the names are they're from Edo State. So what inspired me to write this book? Um, like I said, I'm a family therapist, and when I was a school social worker, I worked with elementary school students. And when I would sit down and try to get them to talk about their feelings and emotions, a lot of the times they're usually quiet. But when I ask them, okay, do you want to play this game or do you want to read a book? And then I noticed that then they're more engaging and they're more relaxed. So I learned that reading to them creates this bond, right? You're entertaining them and then playing with them. Also, you're creating this bond, and then they loosen up. So that's where my I got very inspired, and I was just like, wow, just with how much reading opens their mind. And after that experience, I started reading a lot of children's books. And when I read children's books, I saw a lot of books on different emotions like anger and sadness and, you know, happy. But I didn't see any book on envy. And so that got my attention, and I wanted to point out and write a book and simplify a book that in a way that a child can understand what envy means. Because envy is it's a complex emotion, but also it's children feel that emotion. So I thought simplifying the and creating a book that a child can understand can start helping them to process that emotion of envy. So,
Oh, that's beautiful. And how did being a family therapist, help you? Like, what are some of the things you learn about kids that was incorporated in the book?
okay. So as a mental health therapist, you learn about the thoughts and the emotions and the mind of how you know people develop like mental illness and some of the mental health struggles. And over time, I learned how people can overcome fear, some of the practices they can do to overcome fear, or some of the practices they can do to overcome sadness or different kind of emotions. So I learned how people can also overcome and deal with envy and jealousy. And so when I had learned those practices, then I was able to simplify it and play it out in a story with Oma and Ivie in a way that a child will understand. So it was all the background story, understanding of how emotions and the mind works that helped me to simplify it into the book.
So you use the word healing, healing kids through storytelling. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So, when I was choosing the word healing, a part of me was like, this word seems very deep. Like, I feel like maybe in the past people don't use the word healing that much, like maybe in church or different, like in the hospital. But healing it wasn't really like a common term that people just threw out there like that. But I over time I realized that, as humans we need healing every day. We need healing. And another term could be just filtering that negativity that we experience. Typical typical day we have, sometimes we have negative messages sent to us and positive messages sent to us. And so with the children and their young minds, that word came to me because it's it's a way to help them, heal the negative messages that they get from their friends or in class. Maybe they make a mistake and they're, part of just there's bullying, and sometimes they're exposed to situations that are so innocent, but because of their young mind, sometimes they don't have a way to process the negative emotion. And so reading that book, that's why I use the word healing, because when you read, and there's so many benefits that comes from storytelling and reading to children. They're developing literacy skills. They're building positive memories with their parents or their caregivers. And then they're also having this story that they can fall back on when a negative message is sent to them. So that's why, that's the connection of healing, young minds through storytelling. And also, I wanted to point out that, young mind doesn't necessarily mean that it's a child. There are tons of adults that still have young minds because they were not exposed to an environment where their minds could mature. So it's also, channeled to families, parents. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So I love the statement you made about, uh, young mind is not only children. I mean, there are adults who, definitely still act like children, But yeah, I forgot to tell you to bring the book so we can see one of it. You have
Yeah,
it
I
beside you?
have it here with me.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I love the cover. What inspired you to come out with a cover like that? Tell me the creative process. How did you get a beautiful cover like that?
So the cover came from a page, a part of a. It's like it's a scene in the story, and this was when Oma and Ivie they had overcome, the problem, the issue that they were going through. And so there was a part where they hugged, right? And when the illustrator brought the picture out and I was going through the editing process, it just stood out to me that this page was very, outstanding. And so I decided to use this page as the cover page. So it's still part of the storyline, but I chose to use this because it just showed a lot of empathy and friendship, and it says a lot, in about the book. So that's why I chose that page
Oh,
as the
beautiful.
cover
I
page.
love it. It's so beautiful. So, how long did it take you to, create that book?
It took about a year and a half. Yes, it took about a year and a half. And um, it took that period of time because of a lot of the details that I had to go through. So finding an illustrator, going through editing, the editing process. I went through a lot of editing, and then also finding the right illustrator that, can capture the story. And the illustrator that drew this book did an amazing job with, the details. He was very detailed with the emotions, because emotions is a big part of the book. So I was just looking for someone that could really go through and follow through the facial expression. And so that was a big part. That's why it took, that long, with that time to publish the book, and then going through the editing process, and then finally deciding if I was going to do self-publishing or traditional publishing, which I chose to follow self-publishing.
Wow, that is beautiful. Before we talk about, the route you decided to choose, I mean, which is self publishing, can you tell us a little bit of the benefits of the book? How is it unique? How is it helpful for little kids? Point out some of those emotions and how, you know, reading the book can help them.
So what makes this book stand out is the simplicity of how envy was portrayed in the book. And the book, it has, okay, so I'm gonna summarize the book. There's Omo and Ivie. Omo doesn't like, her outfits, and Ivie, she is excited to go share her culture. It's a cultural day, right? And so what's happening is one person having a rough day, um Omo was having a rough day, and a lot of the times children, right, children have rough day, they have a rough day, they could, something could happen, and because that maturity is not there to regulate their emotions, they can put it out on anyone. And that's the thing that comes with young mind, so young mind, and some people would also use immature, right? So when people don't have that internal regulation to realize that, okay, I'm having a rough day, I don't like what I'm experiencing, but I'm going to keep it to myself. But children sometimes don't know how to keep it to themselves. So this book plays it out so well in a way that a child can see, oh, okay, Alma is trying to put her, rough experience on Evie, but because of Evie is not having it, she's excited for her day, and she has this confidence of how much her parents have instilled the culture in her. So that was an internal way for her to like set boundaries and not accept the negative information that Omo was, expressing about her necklace, right? And at the end of the story, it also shows just how much emotions can be overcome and how to appreciate each other's differences, right? And sometimes that's something that, as young children, you want to fit in, you want to belong, you don't want to sometimes stand out, you want to have friends, you don't want your friends to reject you. But the book sends a message that, you can appreciate who you are, and you can stand out, you can be different, other people can be different, and you can still appreciate the diversity of what makes different people stand out with their culture, with so many other things that make people stand out. That's what makes this book very unique. Emotions and culture, those two big things.
Wow, this is amazing. And I mean, being in the diaspora, I mean, this is the kind of materials that we really need, to help, our kids back home. Kids can learn from uncles, from the whole community. But here we don't have that opportunities to be around family members, grandmas, aunts that can impact certain knowledge to kids. So I mean, everyone watching this, I think you really need to grab this a copy of this book and give to your nephews or niece or your children or anyone that, I mean, this is Valentine's Day coming. This is another way to show love to a young kid. So how can people get the book?
And they can get the book on Amazon. On Barnes and Nobles. They can get the book on my website, www.evacreativity.com. And yeah, you just Google it. You're gonna find it, Omo and Eva. So
Oh,
yes.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's. I would like to learn a little bit about yourself. We've been talking about the book all along. So what is it like being a family therapist? What is one thing that you've learned, from being a family uh, therapist or counselor, as far as our African family, is concerned?
One thing I'm learning about family therapy is that um, family therapy, it's like family therapy. You don't have to be a perfect parent, right? Um, and sometimes, as a therapist, I go to people's homes, and when I start using those therapy, I try not to use therapy terms. I try to make it simple, and also just um help families and parents to see that, as long as you're not, making your child feel very bad about themselves, you're also human, right? But just making sure that you're aware of their thoughts, their emotions. Maybe if they're crying, you say, oh, what happened? Oh no, sorry. Or, oh, I see. Just, it's not that complicated. It's not as long as you're present, you are aware of their feelings, but you can still correct them. That's something that's a big message that, I like to share to, just so our African community, that therapy is not that foreign as sometimes it may sound like. And I know that sometimes our African parents, they're very big on like religion, and so I feel like God also gave us, emotions. And so, yes, the emotions, we can be able to guide, like control those emotions, so it's not causing any negative impact on anyone. So I think what I'm trying to say is that our emotions are there, and we can use it in the right way. It's not to try and push it down, or our emotions, they motivate us, and help us and guide us sometimes to know, like, oh, I don't like when this person did this to me, or this person did that to me. And it's okay to talk about emotions in the house, being sad or angry or happy. It's okay. Or even sometimes if you don't talk about it, just be aware of it. um yep, that's the biggest message, like,
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. And before we go again, one more time, can you show us the book and how can people get the book again? And please, if you're watching this, go grab your copy. So that's the copy.
yeah. So this is the book, Omo and Ivie. And I let me open and show you some of the, see. So
Oh,
even, yeah. So when I was working with the illustrator, I wanted the book to have a lot of African background, and just make it, take it back home. So this is how the book looks like. And then it has at the back where you can ask questions about how to process emotions in the home. So even sometimes if there's a map where parents are like, okay, well, I have a child that, this child is crying, or they come back from school and they're having this and that and this experience. So it even, there's at the back of the book, it has a roadmap where you can ask questions about, okay, how did you feel, and shows them a way out of the emotion. So it gives confidence to also, for the parents to also be present to help the child walk through the emotion, just like how it happened in the book. So yes, and there's another page that I wanted to show you. There's also coloring in the book, but this page also, it shows the end of the story. And this is a very beautiful page because it sends a message to, children about diversity and appreciating just who you are and other people. And yeah, gratitude, diversity, friendship. It's okay to stand out, it's okay to be different. So, and you don't have to be jealous from, you don't have to be envious about something that is different from you, or you don't have to be threatened also by things that are different from what you have or who you are.
wow. This has been so beautiful, and thanks for all the wonderful message that you've shared with us today. You know, I
Thank you.
think we'll keep doing this, to spread the word out so people can find, important creators like yourself. And it's not only about just watching or listening, you guys have to support our creators. Coming out with something fabulous like this, it's not easy at all. Keep doing what you're doing, Eva. Keep creating,
Yeah.
keep inspiring. And also, thank you all for watching. We didn't share the link properly, so many people were trying to get in our StreamYard to watch from there. But the video will be available on our YouTube and Facebook page, and we're gonna also share clips. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you. Thanks for having me too.
It's a great pleasure. All right, goodbye.